Welcome to One on One with Call Out Linden. I'm here today with Ward 3 candidate Angela Caputo. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Good. I think everybody must know you for a few things, but most specifically that amazing restaurant you have, the Breakfast Pig.
The Breakfast Pig, yeah.
Which is now making us hungry because we were talking about that. So congratulations on your success with that business.
Thank you.
We were also talking about a while ago, I did an interview with you with a special lunch program that you had, which you said, gave you the idea to maybe run for council. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Sure. At the beginning of COVID, March 2020, everything kind of shut down, and I had this idea where I was worried about kids that were using the breakfast programs and lunch programs at their schools. How were they getting nourishment? So I started a program called Feed the Kids, partnered with John Howard Society, and we delivered lunches to geared to income housing throughout the city once a week. It ended up running for a few months, and we delivered proudly over 3,000 lunches to children who might have needed them, and Lock City Dairy generously donated to that, and the community chimed in when I asked for over $10,000 in just about 3 days.
Wow.
So yeah, they kept the program really running.
That's excellent. So your ties to that and your success with that clearly had you working a lot with the community, and it also made you see firsthand, hey, there's a need for a lot of help in this community. So tell me what experience you took from that, or knowledge you took from that, to now be sitting beside me today.
Yeah, I got to see that the people living in the geared to income housing complexes, they're wonderful families. There are a lot of wonderful people living there. And as a parent, a new parent now myself, I can't imagine having to worry about how my child is going to eat. And with the rising costs of groceries and just about everything,
it's insane.
It's getting really tough. So I think as a community, we can come together and make programs and hubs and help these youth, because they're truly our future. So when we want to see community development, we really need to focus on these kids, and so that is a huge reason why I'm running.
Good. That's a great reason, Ren. Also, I was involved, or I went to a hub opening with regards to like a drop-in center for teens to go, and so there are a lot of things like that. Is that something you plan to follow through with, and maybe work with what current council has done in the last 4 years and keep pushing those initiatives along?
I would love to see even more youth hubs, more places where children who are struggling, I mean, there's no secret that we are kind of in the midst of an epidemic with mental health, with the drug crisis. So those children really need a place where they can go and feel safe, and maybe just kick back and do their homework, or have a safe adult to speak to, or just be. Sometimes you just need to breathe.
I get that.
So I would love to see places, new hubs, clean parks, things like that, where kids can go and just be.
Just be.
Yeah.
Okay, I agree with you 100%, Angela, but how do we get there? Like, I know that there's a lot of people, you see on Facebook and you post, I was walking your dog and you found a needle in the park, and I too have a young child, and so do you, little beautiful baby.
Yeah.
And congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So what do we do? How do we fix that?
It is definitely a complicated issue, and I am not going to sit here and claim to say that like I have the magic fix, but I think community partnership is the key. I think that caring about people, I think we've gone far away, and I'm not speaking just about Sault Ste. Marie. I think as a society as a whole, we've gotten away from caring about other people, and I think respect and caring and kindness goes a long way. Our community is strongest when all of our citizens are their strongest. So showing people in desperate situations kindness, and giving them the resources that they need to get out of those situations, and especially, again, I will hammer this home forever, taking care of the children that are in need.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't think it's going to be an issue that we're going to see fixed in the next 6 months or something. But I think we need to continue to work toward it. We need to end stigma around mental health and drug use. I've read some articles about potentially safe consumption sites. I know that's a hot topic, and people feel hot about it either way. But
yeah. But it's a reality, though. Angela.
I think we need to have a council that is going to be open to at least examining the possibilities of anything that's put forward that we can do to exacerbate these problems.
Absolutely. It just brings me to a point where how times have changed, like say when I was growing up to how kids grow up now, and how fast, social media plays a large role into that. There's bullying and all that. So yeah, our children are in a different lifestyle than what we are. And also the pandemic really did hit our kids hard. So we do need to look at that as well. It wasn't just the adults who, I don't mean that in a bad way, in a negative manner, but children had to accommodate. I saw my son do his gym class in front of a laptop. He's doing,
many children weren't able to graduate the way that normally we were. So kids have lost quite a bit, and being isolated, that's not normal to, myself as a teenager, you put your friends first, right?
Oh yeah, for sure you do. High school time.
That was probably really tough for a lot of kids. So we need to see these kids through with this now.
That's great. So that kind of combines in what I was going to ask you about. Obviously, our hot topics are homelessness, mental health issues, our opioid crisis, our ER services, maybe perhaps expanding on our paramedics. They have a tough job, and there's not too many of them in the city.
Yeah, I think when we talk about homelessness too, something that whether you feel right about affordable housing or you're upset about it, everyone deserves to have a roof over their heads. And I truly believe that most people are just a few steps away from either great success or being put in a situation that is really tough. So homelessness doesn't just affect those that are currently homeless. We're talking about a lot of people that are like on the brink of maybe that happening or struggling with food insecurity. And I just really believe in my heart, like, we have more than we need as a community. And so we need to start giving to people who are in need.
Spreading the good is definitely a community involvement. Another thing I wanted to ask you, Angela, is actually I got a couple of things though.
Yeah.
The community engagement, like you said, you wanted to engage the community, to engage the youth, helping our children. For voting itself, though, and voting turnout is, and I have asked every candidate this, so I'm sure everyone watches say, oh, here we go again, but it is important. How are we going to, or how are you going to engage the younger generation, perhaps, 18 to 30? I feel like you could have a good vibe with them. How would you do that?
I love this question.
Good, I can tell in your face.
I'm a TikToker. I use TikTok for my business. I have a personal one, and I've started a campaign, TikTok AC, the number 4, Ward, and the number 3. So you can find me there. I really rely heavily on Instagram and Facebook. Now, those are 3 different demographics.
Absolutely.
And Facebook, I focus more on like the voters, your tried and true kind of 35, 40 plus. Kids don't even, I hire kids now and they're like, what do you mean we're in a Facebook group? I don't have Facebook.
No, I have a 20-year-old and an 11-year-old who'd be like, what? No.
So I've delved into Instagram for quite some time, but TikTok's a new platform. I think we need to reach kids where they're at. The youth, we need to get at people where they're at. So I strongly, I use a lot of social media, and I've actually pulled back from signs. We're not having any campaign signs. You will not see an Angela Caputo sign anywhere in Ward 3 or anywhere in the city. I've asked my supporters, should they want to donate to my campaign, I wanted them to instead take those funds and put them to Lunches for Learning, which is a program through St. Vincent's Place that allows children, the food for school lunches. So you'll see me. You just won't see me on a lawn sign.
Okay, and that was the next question I was going to ask you. We did talk about how you're reappropriating your funds into this worthy cause, and I wanted to commend you on that. And that's an excellent move. I really appreciate that for all those children who need it. Okay, so specifically, Ward 3, what do you think your ward You are a voice, as a councillor, you're a voice, not just, for your ward, for sure, but you're obviously, when you meet as a council, you're taking in all of the city and where you're putting funding and lobbying to the provincial government and federal, so hopefully all three levels work together. But what about your ward specifically? What do you think your constituents?
So I have been door knocking, of course, and I'm asking this question because Ward 3 is, I would say, less problematic. You don't see a lot of things coming out of Ward 3, and that's the general consensus at the door. People are kind of like, oh, we'd love to see a speed bump here, or potholes fixed, or whatever.
Potholes. My next question.
The hot topic, but there are certain things, the new light put in front of RBC, that is in Ward 3.
Yes.
That's been a hot one at the doors. People are talking about that one quite a bit. So, and again, I will never sit here and tell you I'm an expert on traffic lights or whatever. But what I am really great at, I'm a business owner. I sit and I listen. I can put things together. I ask a lot of the questions that need to be asked in order to make things come together successfully. And as a councillor for Ward 3 and a representative for the city as a whole, that's what I plan to do. I want to ask the important questions and make sure that those things are being tended to.
Another couple questions I have for you today is, how about how about our population? You see kids or teenagers going off to college now, the time of year, and how do we engage them? How do we tell them, hey, go, fine, get your education. We do have 2 fine post-secondary institutions right here. However, travel is important and to see the world. How do we bring them back to our community, or how do we get our physicians to come to this community? What are we doing?
That's a wonderful question. I think you're going to hear a lot of people throughout this election talk about our tax base and spending responsibly and being fiscally responsible. But in order to engage people and to get people back here, we are going to have to believe in ourselves. I'm a big proponent of, if you don't believe in yourself, how do you expect someone else to believe in you? So I would love to see us investing in ourselves, really focusing more on travel and tourism. We have this wonderful natural beauty around us that no one can compete with. No one else has the same thing that we do.
I agree, 100%. Coming from Hamilton a few years ago, living here now, the waterfront here is absolutely beautiful. How do we tap into that to increase our tourism, to increase our revenue? And
it is tough. Again, hot topic, the Station Mall. It was just sold. We'll see what happens there. But that's prime waterfront location, and I would love to see it developed. I just crossed the border for the first time a couple weekends ago and spent an overnight in Traverse City, and you see the beauty there and how they've really tapped into that waterfront property. And I don't think it's something that's going to be solved in the next 6 months, but it is something that we should be working toward, developing that waterfront, developing our hub trail even more. What an attraction that is. So beautiful. Tapping into our downtown more. Figuring out how to clean that up and I would love to see a couple of blocks dedicated to just restaurants and bars and having a walkable. Really walkable.
Well, we have one in Hamilton. It's called Hess Village, and it is no cars allowed, and it's just
I'd love to see that happen. I'm a huge proponent for restaurants, bars, tourism, all of those things. I think the better the downtown does, the better the whole city does. So I'm definitely in for Councillor Shoemaker had put in for that trolley. I love that idea. We have to remember that we're under a blanket of snow for 6 to 7 months here. So walkability is huge, and when we talk walkability in a snowy climate, it's got to be short. We get that bitter cold. So that trolley will be awesome, and little things like this moving forward, we have all of the pieces. We just have to string them together, and I think that with a progressive council we can really do that.
Progressive council is a very good way to put it. Other things that just popped through my head is just in the downtown core to increase to better the downtown core. Where are the grocery stores? Where are the amenities for those around there? I mean, if you have to take a cab or a bus, that's costly. There's nothing really down in the downtown core for someone to go to a store and pick up a few groceries.
We're in a bit of like a food desert in the downtown. Food and gas.
Gas is another one.
Gas is big. There's no gas stations really down there. As a counselor, there's not much I can do about that.
No, I know, but
it would.
But hey, would you bring it up for me, please?
I'll try and find you someone who wants to open a grocery store downtown. But I do think it's a great idea, and I think that we are seeing like little places like a city meat market. They've brought in some groceries. People are, I think, trying. Grocer for Good is down there.
I love
what an amazing program that is, and storefront. So I think we are seeing. We're trying to fill the gaps. We will get there. I promise we will get there. I want to make sure that we get there.
Well,
so,
Angela, I think you have all the right energy, and the answers are definitely there. And I definitely wish you well on your campaign.
Thank you.
We will be following you. And thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. It was awesome.
It was always awesome with you. That's it for One-on-One with Colette Linden. We'll be back tomorrow.